Doc, you and Al have been through all my marriages.
Yeah, during just about to go south, went south. Where the hell are you? Are you really going to do this now again?
Doc, you and Al have been through all my marriages.
Yeah, yeah. During just about to go south, went south. Where the hell are you? And are you really going to do this now again? And, that's 5.
Yes.
And I think that is a great way to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm just saying, Al Bandero, Diamond Boy Lewis, and today we got a great guest in-house, a personal friend, knows me for a long, long time, Dr. Luis Laviena, awarded recently one of the top Latino professionals in the United States. He's been a psychology doctor for a long, long time. I call him the psychology doctors of the Hispanic stars. He's been around for the longest time. And we've been in a lot of different radio stations together, but he's a great, great friend. Dr. Laviena, welcome to Two Guys. I'm just saying.
Welcome, thank you, guys. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you guys. Really, really.
Lewis and I wanted to jump into something right away that you are the expert at this. We talked the other day about friendships and relationships. Right. And the first question that I have to you is, where Lewis and I have known each other for a very, very long time, was it about some people that connect with a friend and it lasts a lifetime? And then there's the second part to that question, and that would be those friends that have been together for a very long time. Life separates you sometimes for whatever the reasons are. And then you find each other, or you hook up again with each other on the phone or wherever it may be, and you're literally picking up exactly where it left off as if it was yesterday. What are the reasons for that?
You know, there's something like magical about these kind of events and situations. What happens is that people sort of like gravitate. They have almost like the same, not necessarily path, but the same view of the path, the same view of life, the same view of experience. You know, you could be with 10 people, you go through the same experience. Each one of you is going to have a different interpretation of it. When you find somebody who has either a similar interpretation or consistently one that goes against you, because, you know, we tend to think about friends that we agree, but, you know, they're friends that are together because they disagree. And the disagreement is actually what keeps them together and what makes them friends. It's the fact that they view something and that kind of brings them together. So it's a commonality. It's something that's almost like something magical in there that turns in and turns off whenever you get together. And again, you know, as you very well said, the minute you see them, you could have been 10 years without seeing that person. And it's like if you just saw him 15 minutes ago, you know, when you got off the bus. So, you know, if you get that person that turns that click in and off, you're a lucky person, because those are the relationships that will last forever and will take you through thick and thin.
Oh, yeah. And Lewis and I have been through thick and thin. We've, as we just discussed, you know, and the good thing about the tighter friendships is that you kind of have permission, however you deliver it, to be truthful and be honest, you know, with this other person. That with some relationships, you'd only go to a certain degree and go, I'm going to back off this one a little bit.
You know, I always tell people that relationships are sort of like you know, how do you call it? So where you aim the bow and arrow, and you have all these concentric circles, a bullseye.
Mhm.
And, right in the middle is where you are when you're synchronized, when you're in the same way.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're a little off. Sometimes you're 3 lines
Mhm.
behind. Some people stay all the way out here, all the way. Some people go in and out. These are the people that you meet in that center of the bullseye. The more time and the frequent and the easiest. It's the easiest people that could be there at that point. That you feel that you could be basically emotionally naked with them. You could tell them whatever you want, even if they don't agree with you, even if they fight with you, but there is something that you recognize that person has your back in a way.
Yeah.
Even if they're fighting with you, even if they don't agree with you, but you know that they're being honest with you. Honest is a big thing. You know that you're safe with them. You know that they're not going to backstab you, and you know that there is a continuancy that's going to follow through, that you could have an argument now, but we're going to be fine in I don't know, maybe 2 days.
Why do some people get so defensive, Doc? I mean, you could give somebody. I mean, I got to tell you, Al and myself know each other for 30 years, and but he could give me constructive criticism, and I could give him constructive criticism, and we don't take it personal. We don't get defensive. But there are some people that go into defensive immediately, like you're attacking them. Why don't they? What is it that triggers them about any type of criticism?
There's people who have in that center, the bullseye, the person that's there is the person that lives in their head. I always tell people whenever they become defensive, when I'm trying to say something to somebody and they become defensive, or they go in these like tangents that sometimes I don't even understand where they're coming from. I tell them, I said, you need to try to listen to what I'm saying, and you need to stop listening to the guy in your head. People have different relationships. You have a relationship with a friend, but you also have a relationship with that guy in your head. If you listen to that guy in your head more than you listen to the person, and you don't validate those things, because it's all about validation. This is why you become friends, and you stay friends, because this person could tell you something that it bothers you, it hurts you, or whatever. But when you look, you realize whether it was true or it was said in truth. And there is a difference between those two things. You could say something that you could be wrong, but you say it from your heart and you say it honestly.
Correct.
So it's based in truth. And that's what makes the friendships strong.
So,
when people listen to this thing in their head, it's a problem, because that person in your head is not always your best friend. It's not always your best friend.
What is the common thread in your practice, or that you've seen you've been doing this over 30 years, of where the breaking point is with people with the negativity? Where is that? Is there a common thread, and what is the common thread?
One of the big problems about social media is what people expect. It's a problem in a lot of things. It's a problem in relationships, and basically when you get into social media, you're establishing a relationship with social media. Social media becomes a little substitute to that friend in your head for some people, and that's their source of validation. A lot of people who don't have the social strategies, or haven't grown up in a world where you have real people to have real relationships, they build their relationships based in social and when you do that, you have to understand that you're open to other people's thoughts, ideas, prejudices, fears, concerns, and beliefs. And you cannot base all your life in that. And some people do.
Oh yeah.
They feel that's why they fall apart when they get bad criticism. That's why they become so angry with somebody has an opinion that's different from you. That whole thing about solving problems, that cannot happen in social media, because there is no real exchange. Think about, by the time you sit down and you write something back, minutes go through. You lose that whole. You do. One of the things that you learn as a kid. I'm old enough to have and lucky enough that I have parents that you guys need to solve it. We're gonna leave in half an hour. You have 20 minutes to solve it, or there's no trip. So we had to fence it out, and we had to face to face, and we said whatever we needed to say, and we made the mistakes that we needed to make, and it was fine. Now you're doing this with 1 million witnesses, 100,000 witnesses, who have 100,000 opinions that, sometimes they validate what you're saying. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come from who knows where. You hear some of these arguments. Sometimes I read, I like to every so often, sit down and read the things and I go, where did this turn into this other thing? It's like somebody puts a kid's shoe and 5 comments, down. They're talking about your family and your people and your religion. And it's where did this come from? Obviously, people are responding to different things. And if you make that personal, if you think that they're responding to you and you don't have that filter, that's when things could get ugly.
In long friendships, there's always this part that you get comfortable with the other person, and it's happened to all of us. But when you feel a personal attack, whether that person is giving you great advice or you might take it as personal. And I got to say, Al has given me great advice, but he'll always stop for a second. And he's like, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm looking at it from this angle. When you start taking it personal, what is the best way to approach it, especially when it's somebody that you value as a great friendship?
If you feel, first of all, you need to look how much reality comes in that message. So you need to separate yourself from that moment. So you need to take a moment. It's the first thing. You cannot just react. You need to take a moment. The second thing that you need to do is you need to measure the message itself and separate it from the tone. Okay? Because sometimes you could say the nicest thing in the worst tone, and that creates an issue. Sometimes you say, sometimes, listen, my grandmother used to say to me, and this would tell you a little bit, Al and Diamond, this would tell you a little bit about some of the things why I became a psychologist. Grandma used to tell me that when I was 10 years old, she would say, you're going to be a diplomat because you could send people to hell and they'll enjoy the trip, Because somehow, I don't know why, I guess I learned it from my parents or something. I could sit down and say, you know what? This really sucks. You really look bad on that, man, and make it in a way, because my tone is a tone that is not a threatening tone when I'm saying this in particular. It doesn't mean that I don't have times that I use a threatening tone. It doesn't mean, because we have a repertoire of those things, but we need to be aware of that. And sometimes a person is aware, sometimes a person is not aware of that. But if the person tells you something and the value of what he said is good, then you take that and put the tone. If you need to discuss it with a person, just tell them, just tell them. It's like, dude, this probably makes you angry. Address the tone. Address the tone, not the message. Address the tone. Thank you for what you're saying, but you could have said it in a nicer way.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you brought up about the parents. Pardon me. The way that I was raised was my parents. It's not just a friendship. Is what are those people bringing to your relationship with them? That's the way that I was raised in a house, and our household was. They would immediately, by the second or third time they met that person, they would say to me, "This is not your friend."
Yeah.
And as a kid, the parents are always wrong. Meanwhile, they're always right. So you start to look at that and go, now, why not? And then down the road, what happened was exactly, not similar, but exactly what they said was going to happen with this person. Yeah. And I find that because you forget about, the time growing up of, oh yeah, she said that to me, 20 years ago, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that so interesting that they were able to see light years ahead. That
I used to think they had magic powers. I was like,
yeah,
I was a little kid. I was like, how does she know? Like, what? Not at the moment, again, because like, me too. I used to think, oh, it's like they're so negative or whatever. It's like they don't like my friends, whatever. But when finally, the veil fell and you realize that this person was exactly what they said, I'm saying like, how does she know? How did mom know? How did dad know? It's like, yeah.
Doc, why is it that the longtime friendships then or sometimes we have some short, I say the short-term friendships, that they start off strong, but we just fall out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it lack of patience nowadays, or is it just where we're getting older and we know what we don't?
It's like it's like everything in life. Things. Not everything has the same purpose, and I believe that things have different purposes in life. There are friends that are, born to be your friends forever. They're friends that are born to be your friends for a particular period of time. And we need to learn to value all those things. And we need to learn to let go sometimes of things because, they live their purpose. It's like anything in life. You could have the best meal in front of you. After a couple of days, it's going to go bad and it's going to make you sick. So before it makes you sick, you need to learn to put it aside and have respect for that. It was good while it lasted. I see sometimes people feel angry, and anger is a very normal emotion. So I'm not rejecting anger. You need to be angry when you feel that you need to be angry. You need to know how to express anger. One thing is to be angry. Another thing is to hit somebody with a bat in the head. So so you need to embrace your emotions, but you also need to figure out how much of that you're going to act on. But once you do that, you need to learn to appreciate the things that you lived with those friendships. Maybe you had a friend that you needed to be your friend in your party days and enjoy it because it was your friend in the party days. And it outlived, if you're not partying it anymore, this person outlived this purpose. It doesn't have that purpose anymore in your life. So you need to move on. And you know what? God bless. And it was great. And when you remember it, smile and move on.
There was an interesting thing that happened to me that happened, I guess, to other people as well. I met this person through work. We worked together and through work became friends. And something happened more than once where I cut it off after being really close and did not speak for years and years. And then one day it was a phone call. And when we picked up, what I heard this person say was it was an apology. How long this person thought of the relationship that we had. And then we moved forward and there hasn't been a hitch since. So give us your take on that type of scenario that does happen. There's a break in a relationship and for some reason down the road, it connects again.
Right. Because, we tend to think that we are the same person throughout life, and we're not. Every day we're changing. The only thing constant in life is change. So we're changing, but other people are changing also. We remain close to those who change, and the change that they have is either simpatico with your change or the same as yours, because it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it's something that it's agreeable, that it's comfortable, so you could follow that path together. But there are times that you go through stretches in your life where things happen. He sees things in a way, you see it in a different way. He treats you in a way that you don't appreciate, that you feel that it's disrespectful, and he doesn't think so. There's a disagreement in terms of tone and sense of things. So that relationship you have at that moment needs a break in order for you to follow your path in peace, and he needs to follow his path in peace. Because you know what? If you didn't talk all these years, I'm sure that the same way that you sort of either resented him or kept him aside, he also had his own struggle with it. Something made him think that, you know what, I messed up. I really did this wrong. You know, sometimes people need different amounts of time in order to digest things. Sometimes they never get it, sometimes they never get it. And if so, well, that's what it is. But you need to learn that at different times in life, you never meet the same person.
Al, I wanted to remind everybody to check us out on all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Two Guys, I'm Just Saying. Every Tuesday, we launch it up at 9 a.m. So if you ever miss it, you could go back. Make sure you like and subscribe and like that. And every once in a while, just share it. It's free to share. So like that.
Yeah, please. And also let us know where in the world you're watching or you're listening. We would love to know that. In our closing, this has been what a great conversation. We hope you come back again, Doc, and be a guest on our podcast.
I'd love to share time with you guys.
But Louis, let's. How about we ask a closing question? You're up.
What is a great foundation for a long-lasting friendship? Now, I'm not going to say relationship because the friendship will turn into a relationship. But what is the? I think in conversations that, and I ask that because in conversations with Al, we found that our common ground has been our friendship loyalty, and we've gone through some crazy things together, and even together and apart on both sides of the country, and that loyalty has brought us together. What is a good foundation for a good friendship?
I think it's a mix of two things, and one of them is definitely loyalty, and one of them is truthfulness. You need to feel comfortable saying the truth, because there's nothing more disloyal than not being truthful with the people you love and you care. So it sort of like goes into loyalty, but loyalty, I see loyalty like a pizza pie. It has a lot of slices, so you need to make sure that it has those slices. It's like being honest with the people, feeling comfortable with your people, feeling comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And this is a big one, because we have a lot of issues with feeling uncomfortable, and if you can't feel okay with being uncomfortable with a friend when they're going through an uncomfortable situation, then that leads to lie, to walk on eggshells, or do these things. It's like, you know what, it's about that issue that brings trust and loyalty. And
well, I got to tell you, Al feels very comfortable with me because my first ex-wife was Italian. He told me, I told you not to marry her. I told you so.
Yeah, you know what? That's the Monday morning quarterback. I told you that play wasn't good. But meanwhile, we never said it on Friday. Because all the experts come out on Monday. They don't tell you on Friday. So how could I be wrong if I'm waiting for the game to end? And I told you.
Exactly.
So my closing question, Doc, and I know how some people will take this, and it's not meant cold, but I've experienced this in my life. Can you outgrow people?
Well, yeah, definitely. People need to be honest with other people, but they also need to be honest with themselves. And you owe to yourself to stick to your growth. And that when you do that, and you begin to value the honesty that you have with yourself, then you realize that you're not in this road to carry everybody. People, again, they're going to fall off. They're going to jump off the wagon. Life itself is going to make sure that these people kind of like take away. I look at it like, you remember when they shoot those rockets and they suddenly begin to fall parts and things. That's how life is. You need to go all the way up, and you need to let go of whatever needs to disappear, because they also have their path. And you may not be in that path.
What I find interesting is that when that's happened to me, in my life, and time has gone on, and these people are, I call it, they live in a box.
Right.
And that's
right.
they're okay. That's where they're comfortable. That's fine. I've always been of the mentality that I know what's in the box.
Mhm.
I want to venture out just to see what's out there. I
Right.
might not like it, or I might like it, but I just want to venture out. And I find that the people that I have come across in my life, they stay in the box their entire life. I don't know if that's from comfort, but after a while, that's sort of they're not.
Fear.
Yeah,
Fear.
is that okay? Okay.
Could be fear, could be comfort, could be a lot of things, and sometimes that could even turn dangerous, because a lot of people who see you take off, then
Oh,
they resent you. They
oh
they
yeah.
they
Oh
go
yeah.
against you, because it's an inner judgment. And this is something that people who are like, I call them trailblazers. You take off, and you grow, and you move, and you do things, and then you hear people, and it could even be your family, that, oh, you're the black sheep. I love black sheeps in families, because I think they're the most interesting. I think they're the ones that have the most to give, eventually. And if they do the right moves, those are the ones that get ahead. And
Yeah.
and you see how these people, kind of resented, and they're angry, and they talk about them and whatever. But if you pay attention, there is a degree of jealousy in what they say, and there is a degree of angry because they didn't do it. They didn't do it. They didn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
They didn't.
And meanwhile, you're the bad guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
easier. Grandma used to say, always watch people who point at you, because there's one finger looking this way, but there are three looking this way. So it has to do with them more than they have to do with you.
That's an interesting saying. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Doc Luis, you're out of the New York City, New Jersey area,
Yes.
practicing for over 30 years. Give everyone your website so that if they need to talk to you and get a hold of you, they could do so.
Sure. They can find me at drlaviena.com, and they could see me here. I can see me with you guys, because hopefully I'll be here more.
That's
Just
right.
saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just
Great.
saying.
Just saying. Well, you've been saying a lot, and I know when Lewis said he was going to get a hold of you, we were looking forward to, and it's been a great one. And yeah, we'd love to have you back, and appreciate the time you gave us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure, for real.